Engage. Let's do it. Let's fire up the, yeah, let's do it. What is this? Zelda's Lo-Fi Kingdom. Oh, this is gonna be rad. It's gonna be rad. I'll try to be a little bit more presentational on the stream. Just this one stream only. One stream only, I'll be presentational. Alright. We're working on Link versus Tektites. Then the parenthetical on Death Mountain, of course. Here, if we back up, we can see this is where it started. We can zoom in a little bit more. Started here, dark colors, yeah, and then we add beautiful, beautiful touches of blue light to Link, and then we realized the composition needed a little love. So we've got an adjustment happening right there on the Tektite. It's being rotated and tilted in a way that complements in contrast with Link's pose. Yes, yeah, that's very good. Yes. Notice, if you will, the delicious Z curve happening here. Yes, this way, and then oh yes, this way. And then this way. Oh, yes. More Z-curves. Boom. 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 More Z-curves. Boom. 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 No naps allowed. No naps allowed. This is loud max. You get loud max right now. This is gonna highly stimulate you. There's no sleep anymore. I was just going over the amazing composition here. We've got the Z curves happening here. We've got falling here on Link's sword to the elbow, through the eye line to the Tektite, to the elbow of the Tektite, pouring downwards, pointing back at Link. More Z curves on Link, back and forth. Pray tell, what game series starts with a Z? Is that something that exists? It sounds like random, like, I don't know, there's no games that start with Z. Interestingly, starts with A as well. Yeah, it's interesting. A to Z, that's the here, I'm gonna type something. It's only gonna be funny when you read it. LMA. Laughing my ass off. I don't know. That's not that funny. You're like, this isn't funny. All right. Well, that's I was considering amping up the personality a little bit, but nobody wants that. All right. Well, what we're gonna do is spend an hour adding a little bit more blue light in a way that doesn't tread too much on what we've already done, but sort of sweetens and deepens a little bit without getting into too much of the details of it yet. Okay, be in the background. I appreciate the heads up. Oh shit, what did I do? Okay, here we go. In fact, you should rest if that is the thing your body needs. What they have decided to do is do a couple more of those process GIFs before the party tonight. That way, if I feel like I'm being ignored or feeling unpopular at the party, I can look and see reactions on my phone and feel better about myself. That'll be good. Okay, so we'll start here with Link. We've already laid in a little bit of the... You know what? There's a Tektite back here that still needs to get a little bit of light. Missed him. Adding a little bit of light overall and then some extra blue. Just adding it in areas that reinforce the cylindrical form. And here on the belly, it looks like he's got, you know, he's got crab abs, basically, which is interesting. The, like, bugs have their structure, their belly structures do kind of look like this, like they do have abs, but you know, they're not squishy abs, they're rock hard, of course. Even though we see all these, his shredded physique, we're going to treat that as if it is just one, kind of like you would think of a turtle shell, where you can see that there's all these grooves where you can have variation, and you do need that variation, but that variation is subordinate to the greater structure, which is basically a hemisphere. Tektite's in a half shell, yeah. The carapace. Okay, now back to Link. Here, we're even going to do a iterative save. I've got about an hour and 10 minutes before I gotta pick up my first kid from school. So yeah, it's a 2 p.m. dismissal, and then 2:30 pick up the other one. Then I'll be back and I can kill some time doing the process gifts before I go to the party. And I'm gonna Uber there, because I plan on drinking, and even though it says free valet, I never trust that stuff. I get intimidated by valets. And it's from a long, long history of driving really, really, really shitty cars for a long time. I'm actually not comfortable having the car that I have. It's nothing amazing. It's like a Subaru, but it's fucking, compared to anything I've ever had, it's like a luxury vehicle. We're adding a little bit more blue light. Subaru and luxury go hand in hand. I'm not sure if that's the case in all areas of the world. In Los Angeles, I wouldn't think of it that way, but they're fairly popular enough in my neighborhood. One thing they are not is, yeah, it's not registered. Okay, good. However, but like, to me, I'm like, the thing is like driving a spaceship from the future. It's got cameras that point, like, I can click a button and see cameras everywhere. Feels really safe, which is nice because, you know, I've got little kids. I don't want to worry about them. It's interesting. Okay, there we go. I had been previous to this car, the only cars I've ever had that I've been able to call my own were like the cheapest Hondas you could do, like the real artist cars, you know. It was interesting, like you could tell. It was so funny because there were a few people who, despite being like intern artists at some of the art studios, they would drive up in like Porsches, like Porsche 911 or something like that, or like really riced out Japanese cars. And I guess it's a can't blame people, but definitely not my style. I don't like worrying about car payments, or, you know, I know better than to assume that work or money is going to be good. But my wife more or less forced my hand by insisting that we had 2 kids and we needed a bigger car so it would be safe in case there was an accident or something like that. And she proved this point by herself having an accident, not one that she caused, but getting into someone hit her from behind, and luckily the kids were not in the car, but there was enough damage to the rear of the car where it was considerable that the you know, we were grateful that the kids were not in the car. And she wasn't like seriously injured to at least as far as I could tell, or she was willing to admit, as far as handling herself. But the hopefully all that's done. But there is it was something where I was like, okay, well, what do you do? Tell her that, like, well, I just don't value the safety of my children. It was like one of those like emotional mental traps. I'm like, damn it. She's like, got him. Anyway, it is a nice car and I like it, but but it's too much car and it's too expensive for me, and I'll figure something else out. And I'm driving a lot less now too. It used to be I'd go all over the place with the kids in tow, and now that's not the case anymore. They spend most of their day at school, basically. Trying to select out the parts of his design that are covered in leather. And it's the same process, adding a little bit of light overall plus more blue. Gets it even brighter and bluer. Because the leather is shiny, we don't apply it as broad, like it sort of applies like highlights almost. mostly filling into spaces that had already been applied before, but more sparingly, or deliberately, so that it has something to be in comparison against. It's interesting because right now everything we're adding sort of feels like it's shining up Link, like we can see him getting shiny. But when we really start adding the bright light coming from the fire, all of this will just look like it's in shadow. It won't look like it's lit at all. In comparison, it'll be subtle and visible to the eyes and give great variation. Because it's some of the brighter points compared to the other parts on his body, like our brains are just maximizing its impact. But it's all just relative. Starting to talk like I know what I'm doing. I don't know why it seems to me that I have to make his pants look shiny right now. But that's how I did it in the past, and it always ended up looking good. And I think the reason for that is because it shows the form. It's like in movies where they want to amp up the drama, so they spray everybody with glycerin and make them shiny, you know? It's like, oh, all of a sudden. It's like an invented it's like a thing that wouldn't be real, but somehow it makes it, somehow it doesn't detract from the realism of the intent or like the statement, right? It's like when you think about it, you go to the famous works of art, they got to spray them down like in Rocky. If you go to like the Sistine Chapel and you're like, wow, it's amazing, it's amazing, you can see all the stories, but like you're not necessarily questioning like why everybody is naked, you know? You're just sort of glad you can see it really well, or whatever, but and there's like a threshold. Obviously, if I go too far with it, it won't look good, but that's the art of the thing, I suppose. Now we'll do the rope. Getting brighter, brighter and brighter. Maybe it was easier to draw them with no clothes. Yeah, I think it was just more impactful. In the case of like Michelangelo, I fully expect that the answer is actually more akin to they were emulating the just the way that the Romans and the Greeks did it, where they're sort of like, this is the naked truth almost, right? There's undeniable power in vulnerability. Like putting yourself out there without any armor and nothing to hide, literally, is potentially a good way to make an impact. Let me try something. Not that there's much to see in it, but this is technically a different brush that I'm using for this hair application that may be more effective for hair in some materials. All right, go back to the other one. the brush I was using, it's halfway between an airbrush. It's like an airbrush on one side and a hard edge on the other. It's a little strange. Lighten up his skin with a little more blue. This will be another scene where more towards the end with like the finishing touches, but I'll definitely put on some drops of sweat. A little more here on the knuckles. And then what else? We've got his sort of a wrist guard. That we can mess with. Wrist guards need love too. Okay. The heat went out in my house today. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but I was hot a few minutes ago because I was wearing that sweater, and then took it off and now I'm cold. Subtle, but just a little kiss of light in some of these areas. Can make a big difference. By focusing on like how light is affecting the shadows, or like the least lit parts of the composition first, it sort of calibrates the eye a bit to being sensitive to those small variations. And then moving forward, everything is sort of kept in check. it doesn't feel like we're losing control of the light. It's feeling like a good second pass at Link. We've got time. Let's keep going. Same thing now, but to the Tektite. Adding light overall. A little extra blue, like we already did before, so it's sort of compounding that effect. And in this pass, we are allowing those major forms to be a little more subdivided. So the arm isn't just a cylinder. Now we can think of the things that make up that cylinder. Well, multiple cylinders switched together, but we can show the tension and the fusing at those joints a bit, you know? And we only need to highlight enough to suggest those separations at this point. We don't need to... We're not thinking about final colors. It's still all about the big picture. But we can have variations now within those major forms. Allowed now to see the hemispheres within the hemispheres. might simultaneously, boldly, yet sparingly, you know, using a big brush, you know, applying small, it prevents me from thinking about the details too small. I can't apply details yet, not really. I wonder if I still have that old. Might be in the trash can somewhere. If I can pull that up. Or not. Okay. I do have it. I had to be careful. I didn't want anything strange in my trash to be unexpectedly announced. But the shit. No, not that one. Trash can. Scroll Reaper, hey! I'm taking a second to show a little bit the difference, because one thing, the other day I started adding blue light to this main Tektite, and I realized I had skipped some steps, basically switched to a tool that I shouldn't have been using. And I'm not even sure if it's something you guys can quite see, like the difference. Let me see if I can make it a little more obvious, put things a little more side by side. Okay. you can kind of see. It's pretty big. Yeah. What I'm hoping you can see, and it's okay if you can't, because it's, you know, I know people might be visiting this or you know, checking this out on their phone. So the image on the right, the one under my head, this was done first, and I realized that, no, truth be told, there was some alcohol involved, and I was doing it kind of on autopilot. And that's fine, like, you know, getting a little bit tipsy and, you know, saying fuck it to the outcomes is how a lot of people, you know, meet their spouses and stuff like that. You know, good things can result, and the mountain darker, brighter at the top, stronger yellows and contrast in generals. Yeah, so the problem with that is it was too much too soon. What is true that I don't want to have happen is that I start thinking about granular and finishing details before the more important. I want to build up to those things, the thinking of those things, and not skip the steps where I really start thinking about the scene coming together, kind of as a whole. But because it's tricky, it's like, yes, I know that in the end I want to have it look a certain way, so why don't I think about that now? But I shouldn't think about that right now. I should think about how in the beginning, at the stage that I'm at, the form of the Tektite needs to feel round. And so what I did was I went back and I redid it so that the form of the Tektite was rendered not with like a paintbrush style, but with a soft airbrush style that retained the structure. Because I want things to first read as their, like, the dominant form, like the dominant geometry, and then it gets subdivided with the form that is reading underneath my head right here. This form to me is too much like a sack of walnuts. It just looks like forms on forms on forms, and the eye doesn't know where to go. It's just like a lot of detail. So I went back, started over on that Tektite, and made sure that it was reading first and foremost like a, you know, it can read like a walnut, as long as that walnut also reads as, like, mostly a walnut is like a sphere. And then secondarily, it has like two hemispheres, so it can read like that. And then, like, in the third or fourth read, like, you can start to see all those different things. I don't know how this happened, but the little bit of color I added there went away to the belly on this guy, little guy. After I had my spiel about how it needed to read, and then I must have done it, but then undone it. That's okay. Just quickly enough, fix that. That's better. Okay. Now, eyeball. This is the best Lost Woods mix I've heard. Okay, here, let me shout out to Joe Copy and Game Trops. This is on the Zelda's Lo-Fi Kingdom. I think these are all on YouTube as well. Bless these guys for putting together great like a lot of great music. They do a lot of stuff, and not just Zelda stuff too. But yeah, Zelda's Lo-Fi Kingdom. I think I've listened to this one a couple of times. It's probably on its like next. Kind of want to yeah, still good. That animation job I'd been making the portfolio for has filled the position. Aw, all right, that's bad news. That's no good. Sorry to hear that. Filled the position with someone else. Feels like you just lost a competition. I'm sorry to hear that. Did you get a chance to... So they didn't even see what you put out, did they? Or had you... Were you able to make a submission, or were they... Did they fill the position? Trying for a competition, didn't even get a chance to compete. Yeah. Sorry to hear that. Do what I do. Let it fuel your rage and vow revenge and dedicate your life to revenge. I just checked the page to see and noticed the application page said it's filled. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm very sorry to hear that. I know that you mentioned it being like a dream job. They have one of those apply anyway rules, so you'll try that later. Nothing wrong with that. And you could even just write like, hey, this was meant to, fill that other role. You never know, man. Sometimes the stuff like that can work. People can get in and out of favor all the time. Happens all the time. Anything can happen. That person could get squished by a bus. Like, as we speak, they're literally getting squished by a bus. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Hey, unbeknownst to you, I've actually been working on this project with your studio mind. Yeah, definitely apply anyway. Yeah, absolutely. And then find the other person and like break their wrists. No, just kidding. But so much shit can happen. I remember, like, the bad luck in life is never ending. At some point, we all enter, like, I knew a guy, very talented artist and painter. He had it all going on, and he was skiing with friends, and he hit a tree and like fucked up his neck. Not in a way, like, he's not paraplegic, nothing that drastic, but like he couldn't move his whole body. Like, he was out of commission. He was like, probably didn't have any health insurance, because health insurance is crazy in America, and he was a freelancer. But but also it was like his body needed to recuperate, and that was like the last I ever saw him. It's so easy, for crazy shit happening. So finish your animation. I haven't finished the illustration yet, because it gives me the freedom to finish the commissions without juggling. There's always shit like this happening. And then, like, something else will pop up, and you'll be like, oh, this is even better, Yeah, he didn't insta. Yeah, the guy didn't insta die or anything like that. Yeah, he still went on to, as far as I know, have a decent career. So that's the other thing is like, you know, don't let bad luck take you out either. But my mom, long ago, my mom was nominated for an Annie Award. These are like the Oscars for animation or something like that. She was a storyboard artist on, what was it, Jungle Book 2, which is like a Disney direct-to-video release. So this was the cartoon version. Like 20 years ago this happened. And she was like, oh, I'm honored to be nominated. She looked at the other artists who were also nominated, and one nobody knew about, or maybe people knew about it, but she was more popular than like one of the guys. But the other guy had been known to, like, he was on an amazing property, his career was skyrocketing, it was blah, you know, it was like, this was gonna be like, it was obvious that like he was Mr. Popular and gonna win. And what we were like, okay, well, Mom, it's that guy will probably win, and good for him. And then meanwhile, it's still very cool that you got nominated. My parents are epic. It's true. That's why I am so epic. I'm literally the synthesis. But the you know, so we went to it was just cool to go to a fun Hollywood party, basically. It was cool to go to a party and and not have a bunch of like real expectations or worries about like, okay, she's gonna win or whatever. Well, what we found out at the last minute was the main guy had been disqualified, not for anything terrible, as far as I know, but like on a technicality. It's probably like the application was misfilled out or something, but he was ineligible ultimately, and this is after everybody had already voted. So guess what? The second place person won, and it was my mom. But like no one could have seen that coming, and so my mom has an Annie Award that is well deserved, and it's nice. But the story is that like, what is that? It's a British saying, but there is many a slip between a cup and a lip. And of course, if we don't all, get the analogy, like how many times have you been like, oh, I'll just take a sip of this, but then you like end up slipping and spilling, hot coffee on yourself. Doesn't happen all the time, but like in the events of human history, this shit happens. Shit happened, and you'd think that nothing bad could happen in between, like the 3 inches between this cup and my lip, but shit can totally go wrong. It's never over. Never over. And having the portfolio put together, Squirrel Reaper, when it is, if it's ready now, then that's an achievement. If it's ready soon, it's an achievement. You have that, it's something that you can apply. You can use it to, well, I mean, it's probably tailored to what you were specifically applying for, but that doesn't mean that it was all in vain. Definitely not. And think of everything you've learned along the way, Probably twice the artist compared to where you started out. I'm generalizing, of course, but it's possible. I know that, like, for me, my skill has grown leaps and bounds on this project compared to when I started. I probably told stories like this before, but when I had a portfolio, this was over 20 years ago, but I was shopping my portfolio around to I think Disney and Warner Brothers and Cartoon Network and stuff like that. I had a printed out portfolio, and back then they didn't have online job boards. You know, you just basically showed up, tried not to look like a weirdo, and asked if you could drop off your portfolio. That's what my mom did. That's what she told me to do. And that was sort of like the classic, like, show up with a portfolio and see what happens. And, well, by the time I got around to actually doing that, and I was probably like 21. Oh, yeah. My mom is, I mean, she has one Annie Award. I think that's plenty. But yeah, it's just sort of like, you know, you could think that something is, you know, set in stone, and then it isn't, you know. Tons of stuff can happen. Anyway, what was I saying? So I show up at like Disney, and they've got the, I've got my portfolio. Imagine 20-year-old Max. Imagine me with even more hair on my hairline. But I show up, no wrinkles, all hair, and I show up and I'm like, hi, can I drop off this portfolio for review? You know, you let me know if there's any. I'm a storyboard artist. I'm hoping to be. Yeah, I was like, oh, my. I never had a rejection yet, so this was my time to you know, knock it out of the park. I'll be 1-0 in my knockout, undefeated in my fight career, right? Unstarted, but also undefeated. Yeah, that's the thing, is like, oh, I've never lost, but I've actually never fought, so we'll see. So I go in there, and there's, you know, I don't remember if she was cute, but let's say it's a cute secretary, not a secretarial, but an admin front desk person, that their job is to basically to let or not let artists through into the main thing if they're unrecognized, and or intercept them, like, what do you want? And I was like, okay, can I drop this off? And they were like, oh yeah, people do that all the time, no biggie. Here, I'll take that from you. And then she turns around and she puts my portfolio on top of a stack of portfolios that was nearly as high as she was sitting down in her desk. So we're talking about, like, maybe I'm exaggerating, but this thing was like at least 2 feet high. This pile was at least 2 feet high of portfolios that had just been, like, put in this area and then stacked until they couldn't stack anymore. And so then they were just simply piled until it was like a snow mogul. And she put my portfolio on the very top, which I appreciated. And then I watched in real time as it slowly built up momentum and slid down to the bottom and took a few others down with it, like it was going down a ski hill. And she saw that happen with me, and she couldn't help but giggle a little bit at that, and because it was funny, it was hilarious. But no shocker, didn't get any callbacks. They mailed back my portfolio because I had, you know, I included my address and contact information. They mailed it back, and, you know, with no other, like, hey, we're returning your portfolio, and we'll keep you in mind for whatever, but never heard anything about anything. That was something where I realized I needed to do something else. So that night, I registered my name as an internet domain and put out started putting together, basically in HTML programming, the very first semblances of my website. And that was something that most artists didn't do at the time. Most artists didn't actually have a website. And so by having a website, this is in like 2004, by having a website, I was able to start out. By drawing digitally and having a website like 20 years ago, that was what you needed to set yourself apart as an artist, as someone who had new marketable skills or something like that. All that helped me in the the commercial thing. Now, of course, none of that would apply today. Like every artist has a website and or social media presence that is probably greater than my own, and being able to draw digitally or do anything digitally is of course the bare minimum you need to know. So, you know, that isn't I can't say just do what I did. That path forward isn't viable anymore. Not in the same way. I mean, it's viable as in like you could and should still do it probably, but it wouldn't set you apart. But keep working. Put together cool stuff. Yeah. Okay. This guy's basically looking good. Here, let me save. Maybe we'll do some fun lighting on this guy. Squirrel Reaper, today I am nervous because I am doing going to a holiday party for one of my clients. Probably the reason that makes me nervous is I haven't been to a work holiday party in 6 years. It's been a long time. It's hard. It's like impossible even to just get invited to these things unless you're staff. So what I think happened is one of the other artists who would have gone couldn't make it. So they probably were like, what's the harm in having a reliable freelancer who's local come and fill a seat? Otherwise it'll be empty. So, but I got an invite, so that's cool. Shows they don't hate me, if nothing else. They are my sort of busiest, best clients at the moment, so. Just the fact that they have enough staff right now to have a holiday party for is actually a pretty crazy, rare thing. It is party time, and I was telling Sextra that that's the challenge for me is like go to a party and get drunk, but don't embarrass yourself. Challenge. It's like impossible difficulty. The last party I threw at my house here was the Halloween party where I was Jesus and I fell on my face and nearly broke my wrist and knocked my teeth out and disfigured myself. So all sorts of challenges await me tonight. A cup and a lip causes a slip. Yeah, cup of Irish whiskey. Look how great that shows the form. I don't even know like if this makes sense anatomically. I'm just sort of adding light where it feels like it would be. lip causes a slip. That's pretty good. You're too good. I'm going to go another 15 minutes, and then it's pickup time. This looks so jacked up right here. How did I mess that up? Oh well. It's not that messy, it's just the fidelity is compromised. But it's okay if colors blur together. That's not the end of the world. Anyway, this party is at... I should actually look this up. This will be fun. Pardon me. Bakari in Silver Lake. Images. Okay, look at this cool place. Is this something I can click on? Photos. Looks nice. I had something like this in mind when you were imagining it. Maybe more of a roof. Yeah, I'm hoping there's going to be heaters at this place. LA is, it's relative, of course, but it's definitely got some, like, natural, eco-friendly, like, what is this? There's these like wooden pathways with like pebbles. Like, is this gravel? These are probably like little river rocks or something, right? And these weird backings. It's all like upcycled or something. I don't know. Hand stitched jute backings and covering seat coverings and some bizarre tree with hanging canvases, hanging lights. So that's great. I'll look at these plates. This is so for me, my cuisine is like go to a taco truck. That's like the only food that I need to live on. Like, I'm like elevated food, great. It's not better than Mexican. They looked like oyster shells. Yeah, they did. These things. Candles everywhere, fresh picked flowers. So this place is gonna be like super expensive, so I'll count my blessings. I'll dress warmly. Probably eat cold food. Yeah, look at that plate. There you go. I'm just gonna be like, dirty martini, keep them coming. Keep them coming. Jalapenos, that's good. I like spicy fried food. So, Thai food, Mexican food. That's my jam. Happily, that stuff is inexpensive. Bananas and strawberries on bread? Yeah, no, totally. Like, did I pay for this? Yeah. You go there to be, that's like a place you go to like be seen or see people or something like that. You know, I don't know. LA is like that. Home stretch. I'm going to finish up in a minute. I see you seeing me seeing you. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, you could go to a place like that. You might see a celebrity. But in the area that I live, which is Studio City, which is on the other side of the Hollywood sign. And so it's like the Hollywood sign faces Hollywood and you can read it when you're in Hollywood. But on the other side of that sign is like a suburb of Hollywood where I live. And this is where the celebrities actually live. Not to say they don't live in Hollywood, but you know, if you are in Hollywood, you're going to be on those crazy studio tours where people in places are like buses drive by and like they point at you and say, and here's where Pamela Anderson lives or something like that, you know, some famous person. Where I live, you can be a celebrity and be a neighbor, and it's not a big deal. You can be an internet celebrity like me, an influencer, if you will. This color is the wrong color. It got all too blended together. So I'm going to steal the color from here. Here. Slightly more correct. Do a little bit more. Oh, here, like on his hand. Wonder if there is a like a specialty drink or a like, should I do some research on what's the most expensive thing that I can order at that restaurant? It just makes me think that, like, because I've been to those kinds of parties before, and because everybody is there at the same time, they want everybody to eat at the same time, they end up having like a limited menu that essentially you can get like one or two of several kinds of pre-made things that you can choose from. So I doubt I'll have much latitude, but it'll be cool. Hardest part will be containing myself when I'm drunk. This company likes to embrace the power of AI, which is something that irks me. Because they should know better. It's like a creative company that should know better. Get too liquored up, I'm going to start ranting. Okay, yeah, focus on my... Need to focus on my gratitude. I'll work on my sniveling. My, what would it be? What my, must practice my toadying. Wow. So amazing. What an amazing company. Wish I could be a bigger part of it. Okay, that's the time. Time to split. Alright, gang. This was fun. Thank you for your fun and continued support. Yeah, thank you for this opportunity to kiss your ass. Yeah, I'll be good. I'll be good. Turn this back up. Yeah, okay, here. Do a little quick thumbnail. Upload all this at the last second. Okay, let me do... Just struck me. Do the Dr. Evil. That's fun. All right, that's it. All right. Thank you so much. I'll catch you guys next time. Adios.